Do you know whether you're ovulating? Why should you even care? I'll tell you why, girlfriend. That's exactly what we're going to be talking about today, so stay tuned. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Linda Vezzoli, nutritional therapist, health coach, and senior lecturer at the College of Naturopathic Medicine in London. I help women understand their hormones, restore their energy, and feel confident in their bodies again through simple nutrition and lifestyle shifts which honor our unique female physiology. So let's dive in. When we think about ovulation, most people immediately think about fertility or getting pregnant. But here's the thing, ovulation is so much more than making babies. In fact, I would argue that ovulation is one of the most important events for a woman's overall hormonal health. If you're not ovulating regularly, you could be experiencing symptoms such as weight gain, insomnia, mood swings, PMS, acne, anxiety, heavy periods, breast tenderness, and many of the symptoms that women experience during their late 30s and 40s. So today, we're going to talk about what ovulation actually is, why it matters, even if you finished having children or never wanted children at all, and especially in our menopausal years, and how you can tell whether you're actually ovulating or not. Okay, let's nerd out for a second and talk about what ovulation actually is. Ovulation is the process where a mature egg is released from the ovary, ready to be fertilized. Cool story, bro, you may be thinking, but something incredibly important happens at the same time. After that egg is released, the follicle transforms into something called the corpus luteum, which produces progesterone. Progesterone is often called our progestation hormone because it prepares the uterus for pregnancy and it helps maintain pregnancy if conception occurs. But its roles extend far beyond reproduction. Progesterone helps to regulate blood sugar, it supports bone health, it promotes healthy sleep, it calms the nervous system, it supports our mood, and most importantly, it keeps estrogen in check. Now, why does that matter? I'll tell you why. I often describe estrogen as our hormone of growth and proliferation and stimulation, while progesterone is that calming, balancing influence that stops things getting a little out of control. Think of estrogen as the accelerator pedal and progesterone as the brakes. You need both for a smooth ride, but without enough progesterone, many women experience symptoms like spotting, irritability, anxiety, insomnia, weight gain, breast tenderness, and mood swings. You may also develop what we call relative estrogen dominance, where estrogen isn't necessarily too high, but progesterone is too low to keep it in check. And this can lead to heavy or irregular periods, clotting, fibroids, cysts, fibrocystic breasts, and worsening PMS symptoms. So why should we care about ovulation? Because if we don't ovulate, we don't produce meaningful amounts of progesterone. No ovulation means no corpus luteum. No corpus luteum means very little to no progesterone. And this is where so many women unknowingly run into hormonal issues. Now, there are lots of reasons why ovulation may be disrupted. Stress is a huge one. You may be surprised to hear that, but it's not just the external stressors. Things like under-eating, over-exercising, poor sleep, our light environment, the content we consume, all of these are stressors that can impact ovulation. Other things like medications, hormonal contraception, environmental chemicals known as xenoestrogens, and conditions like PCOS can all interfere with ovulation. Your body is incredibly intelligent. If it perceives stress or inadequate resources, reproduction moves down the priority list. It's essentially saying, now is not a great time to have a baby. And so even if making a baby isn't remotely on your agenda, for example, in your menopausal years or late 30s and 40s, and this is where things get really interesting. As women move into that perimenopause, whatever that's supposed to mean, ovulation becomes increasingly irregular. Some months you ovulate, some months you don't. These are called anovulatory cycles. The ovaries are still producing estrogen, but without ovulation, there is very little progesterone being produced. And this creates a state of that relative estrogen dominance where progesterone levels are lower than estrogen. And this imbalance is one of the reasons why so many women in their 30s and 40s experience heavier periods, breast tenderness, mood swings, anxiety, sleep disturbances, hot flushes, bloating, and weight gain. And they may be told that they're just in perimenopause and sent on their way with HRT, but still end up feeling like crap. Many women think that they must have super high estrogen to experience estrogen dominant symptoms, and they often tell me that their serum estrogen is actually low, so it can't be that. But often it's that even if estrogen has declined, which it can in these years, they simply don't have enough progesterone to balance it. And this is why supporting healthy ovulation for as long as possible during our reproductive years can be so beneficial for long-term hormonal health. I know you want to get rid of your periods as soon as possible, but actually menstruating for as long as possible is going to really help you in your menopausal years. So, how do you know if you're actually ovulating? There are several clues that your body gives you. Number one is cervical mucus changes. As you approach ovulation, rising estrogen increases our cervical mucus production and it changes texture. It becomes more clear, slippery, and stretchy, a bit like raw egg whites. Its job is to help sperm move throughout the cervix to reach the egg. And if you're trying to conceive, this is your fertile window and your sign to get busy. But even if you're not looking to have a baby, this is a sign that ovulation is imminent. For some women, it may not be very obvious, but it's still there. But if you're not noticing any cervical mucus at all, then think about things like dehydration, poor circulation, sedentary lifestyle, or hormonal imbalances, which could all be contributing factors. Number two, basal body temperature. Your basal body temperature is your resting temperature first thing in the morning. After ovulation, progesterone causes your temperature to rise by around half a degree Celsius. This is because progesterone is very pro-thyroid, pro-metabolic hormone, so it's ramping up metabolism. So, tracking your body temperature every morning before getting out of bed can help you identify whether ovulation has occurred and when. If you never see that temperature shift, it could suggest that you're not ovulating. And as an aside, chronically low body temperatures may also point towards sluggish thyroid function, which can impact both metabolism and reproductive health. You want your basal body temperature to be around 36.5 centigrade at a minimum, and then shift and increase after ovulation. Number three, increased libido. Yes, nature has a sense of humor. Around ovulation, testosterone also rises alongside estrogen and luteinizing hormone. This often increases libido and sexual desire. Have you ever found yourself feeling more frisky at certain times of the month or suddenly eyeing up the postman? Maybe that's just me. That's your hormones trying their best to ensure the survival of the species. Your body is telling you to get some, baby. Interestingly, studies have also found that women are often perceived as more attractive during ovulation. So you may find that the feeling is mutual. Now, of course, libido varies enormously between individuals, and things like stress, fatigue, medications can all influence it. But generally speaking, having a healthy libido is actually a really positive sign of overall health. Number four, ovulation predictor kits. Now, these urine tests detect the surge of luteinizing hormone, or LH, that occurs just before ovulation. So, a positive test usually means that you'll ovulate within the next 24 to 36 hours. They're very commonly used by women trying to conceive, but can also be a useful way of confirming whether ovulation is happening consistently. So, the biggest message really that I want you to take away today is this, that ovulation is not just about fertility. It's the star of the menstrual cycle, but it's also a monthly report card on your hormonal health. Every time you ovulate, you produce progesterone, one of the most important hormones for balancing estrogen, supporting sleep, mood, metabolism, and long-term health. And in your late 30s and 40s, when ovulation becomes less consistent, many women experience symptoms that are actually linked to declining progesterone, simply, rather than simply, perimenopause or low hormones. I have a whole other video about this, which I will link to below. So understanding what's happening can be incredibly empowering because it allows you to support your body rather than fight against it or feel like your body is failing you. Now, if you'd like to go deeper into this work, I have an online self-led program with group coaching called the Midlife Reset, designed to guide you step by step. It's my flagship program built from more than a decade of clinical experience working with hundreds of women alongside my teaching work at CNM in London. I've popped some information in the description below. But if this resonated with you, please let me know in the comments, which of these signs of low progesterone do you recognize most in yourself? And if you found this helpful, make sure you watch my other videos or subscribe, which I'll also pop in the description below, because they build perfectly on what we've discussed today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.